So here is continuation of our test, my test of the gimbal. I also have the GPS on for the Hero 6, and it's also a test of the audio quality. I am speaking through a balaclava, so it's going to already be a little bit muffled. I'm also recording a GPS tracker on my phone right now. I have that going because right now Dashware is not able to read GoPro Hero 6 footage and GPS data. Well, I can read the footage since it's just video, but the GPS data does not come through. And GoPro Quick software is absolute garbage. It won't render any of my footage. It used to for the first day or two, but then it stopped outright, and it will not output any files whatsoever. And I had an okay workaround where I tried rotating the file sideways so I could get the gauges in the black portions on the sides, and then I would crop out the middle in Premiere Pro and use a Luma key at 1% to get rid of the black background so that the gauges would be transparent. But it won't output the file, so I can't officially finish my test of that. Yeah. Ugh. Absolutely horrendous, that software. It's so limited, it does almost nothing. It's ridiculous. But Dashware looks amazing. It outputs the transparent gauges as an image sequence, which is absolutely amazing. That's exactly what I want. It goes perfectly into Premiere Pro. But if it won't read the GPS data, then it's not entirely useful at this moment. Now, I did look into other software, Race Render 3. Race Render 3 will read the Hero 6 GPS data. And it can export a GPS file from that software, which is readable in Dashware, which is readable in Dashware. So you can actually get the GPS data off the GoPro Hero 6 and into Dashware by going through Race Render. The problem is the free version is limited to 5 minutes of GPS data being exported. And I don't want to pay $40 just to unlock the GPS function in the GoPro, which GoPro should, has, provided a free tool, but because that free tool is horrible garbage, yeah, I'm not paying $40 extra for that. If they were to update Dashware, because GoPro actually owns Dashware. And so they even have all the GoPro gauges. The last update was in March 2017 to add support for the Hero 5 and the GPS on that camera, and also add the transparent exporting of the transparent gauges and all of that. It added a whole bunch of features. So I have my fingers crossed that they're still working on updating that software and that it's not just dead software. I just touched the gimbal there, that's why if it bumped a little bit, I don't know. So hold on just a moment. On your left. Yeah, so Dashware is owned by GoPro, so I'm hoping that they're still working on that software and they haven't just abandoned it after acquiring the licenses and the technology and whatnot. Because if Dashware were able to read the Hero 6 GPS data, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be exactly what I want for GPS gauges and such, and I can intersperse and splice with my other footage, and oh, I'm sure I could do some cool stuff with it for bike vlogs. Another problem, which is another reason why I won't pay $40 for Race Render 3, is that the information that they're exporting seems to be different than in the GoPro Quick app. See, I can put the footage into GoPro Quick, and I can see the gauges, and I can follow along, for the most part. Depending on how high resolution the footage is, it stutters more. But I can follow along and see what the data values are for any given frame, any given piece of the footage. And when I go into Race Render, and I export and bring it into Dashware, or even if I just leave it in Race Render, the information seems to be a bit off. And exporting it from Race Render and putting it into Dashware just seems to put it off even further. Like, for example, the G sensor completely breaks. It goes all over the place, and the numbers never count up from 0. And also the elevation, or rather the elevation gain, constantly counts upward, whether I'm going uphill or downhill. Whether or not the elevation is going up or down, the elevation gain continues to count upward. So that's a problem. It doesn't do that in Quick. So that's definitely a problem. So I'm hoping if GoPro adds the functionality to Dashware, the Dashware will be able to read directly from the camera and read it perfectly as it was designed and specified. So yeah, that's my hope. We can solve all that nonsense and also get this slightly updated look of the new GoPro gauges that Quick has that Dashware doesn't quite yet have. They have the same style, but there are little differences, like some bolding on some of the text, and the speed tracker turning from red to yellow to green as you go higher speeds or lower speeds, or lower to higher. So yeah, that is something that is interesting. And right now I have my GPS here, and I've got this here. So this is 2.3 and this says 2.2. The RadMini does not have GPS built in, so the odometer and the speed, as far as I can tell, is all based on the RPM of the wheels and the motor and such. So you have to put in your wheel size, and then you know, I mean, even depending on inflation of the wheel, it can change slightly. So yeah, but it's fairly accurate once you get the settings all tuned in. And the Hero 6, when I went into Quick to look around, and when it was first exporting files for the first day or two, it seemed very accurate. It seemed quite accurate. I was very happy with those results. So I am genuinely hoping it comes to Dashware and that they haven't abandoned that software, because that software is freaking amazing. It really is. It's really good software. I like it a lot. And so that's another reason why I have the GPS running on my phone, so that I can still get telemetry data into Dashware. And it's got a specific format for use with Dashware. Dashware has a profile for taking taking the log file from the software I'm using Track Addict. Oh, someone's smoking. Track Addict. And Track Addict is actually, I believe it's called Track Addict. I'll change it on the screen if not. But, oh, another smoker. Oh. I'm actually going to go up in here. So, yeah, Track Addict is actually owned. It's software from the race render people. So yeah, race render seems to be pretty dang good software. I just don't want to pay $40 for full functionality when like Dashware is free and owned by GoPro. And Track Addict is a free download. Oh yeah, and race render, I looked around and I could not find a way to export transparent data or transparent gauges as an image sequence, or even just on their own at all, which is what I need for Premiere Pro. So yeah, but you are able to customize your gauges. It looks like you get a preview in the free version, but in the pro version it just unlocks it, as far as I know. But you can actually in race render customize the look of your gauges. You may be able to do that in Dashware. I haven't looked around quite so much because I haven't been able to get any useful data in there yet. But hopefully with this test I will. Alright, I'm actually headed to Michael's right now. I'm gonna find a parking spot for my bike, and I think I will see you in a bit. Okay, heading back. So one of the things about Trackware, is that the GPS seems to take a little bit of time to connect initially. So far not too big of a problem, but yeah, I mean, the GPS on my phone is much quicker, so I don't know why the app then would take that much longer. But maybe they're requiring very specific, accurate satellites. Hopefully it'll be very accurate. And then the GPS on the GoPro also is a lot quicker. This is also a lot quicker. Okay. So far, I'm very pleased with the gimbal. The footage from my other video going up that trail looks outstanding, I think. Considering how bumpy it was, I'm very pleased with that footage. And the audio quality, I was expecting to be absolute garbage, but it wasn't. So I'm speaking through a balaclava and then into the camera. Oh, loud. Then into the camera through the gimbal, which a lot of people online said the gimbal just adds all that gimbal noise. And I don't know, I haven't noticed it yet, but I haven't really listened to it other than through my laptop speakers, so let me know in the comments if you hear it and what you think of the audio quality. You know, bearing in mind that it's through a gimbal and through a balaclava. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, for being through a gimbal, through a balaclava, I think it's pretty good, actually. I'm surprised at how well I can hear my voice and the other sounds around me of like the bike and the trail and all that. So, yeah, I'm quite pleased so far. So let me know, let me know what you think. Anyway, one amazing, outstanding feature that I absolutely love with the grip is the charging mechanism. Now, a lot of people online were complaining that the GoPro Karma grip charges the camera from the grip while it's going and there's no way to disable it. But other gimbals I've seen, now here's why I think it's a good thing. Other gimbals I've seen that can charge the camera, like the Evo SS, does not allow charging the gimbal while charging the camera while recording. And so yes, if it does not allow that, I can see it's a huge problem. You know, the gimbal charges the camera, the gimbal runs out, and then you have the camera fully charged and 5 leftover batteries. But with the Karma grip, you can plug in an external battery bank, and I have a lot of those. And the battery bank will power the gimbal and the camera, because I've got a powerful one. Jeez, another siren, dang. Yeah, I'm not going yet. Alright. I'll let that guy pass. But yeah, my power bank can power the gimbal and the camera and keep them both charged. And so I can potentially just keep swapping external batteries and run them indefinitely. And that's absolutely perfect. If I go on a 3-4 hour bike ride, I know that I'm good with battery and that I won't have to stop and change things while stopping the camera going and everything. I can just keep everything going, keep everything where it is. The quick unplug of one power bank and a plug in of another and continue on, and that's amazing. And then if I deplete all my power banks, I know that the gimbal itself will run for a few more hours. I don't know how long, I haven't actually tested it, but it seems to be a decent battery life. So yeah, I'm very happy with the mechanism for charging that it uses. No complaints from me. Wait. And it's one reason why I didn't go for any of the other wearable gimbals, because they did not have that feature. That feature is hugely important to me. So I'm very happy that the Karma grip has that. Karma grip doesn't seem to have some other features, but I can live without those features. Like a joystick to control where the camera points, and I mean, there might be an external separate controller for that, I don't know. But also it doesn't have, to my knowledge, like roll control or pan, tilt, fine-tuning. But for what it is, I like it. And it doesn't turn around 180 degrees to look at me, but that's okay. I can turn the stick around. I still have access to the buttons with my forefinger instead of my thumb, you know, as long as I know where they are. You can't really feel them too well, but I think I can get used to where they are, depending on the other ridges of the device, if I need to. But I'm going to turn around the camera, point it at me, and then turn it back around. It's not too big of a deal, because I edit my footage. You know, it's not like, you know, upload the raw data so much. Yeah, so that's a very minor thing. One thing that, another thing that the Karma grip doesn't do is have full 360 degree rotation of each of the motors. But I'm okay with that too, because they seem to be more powerful motors and more in control than those I have used that do have the full 360 degree motion. So better quality versus full rotation, I'm gonna go for better quality. And let's actually head down this way to another off-road path I like to take. So yeah, better performance versus full rotation is a good trade-off. I like better performance. And depending on how fast you rotate the stick, you know, it'll follow, the pan will follow you, and it'll follow you faster or slower depending on how fast or slow you rotate that stick or turn the gimbal or whatever. So yeah, so far it seems to be alright. I don't have any complaints thus far with it. You know, I think once I get used to using it really well, I think I'll be able to get some really nice shots. And already I'm getting some really nice shots on the bike. And I'm not going to be using the GoPro for like so much for cinematic filming anyway. So I don't need all the extra cinematic features and movements that like the Movi has. So yeah. So this is Microsoft, and Microsoft has trails. And this is one I like to take a lot. I wonder if there's any snow down here. Oh, it looks like there is. Should be interesting. Now I'm running on the RadMini. I'm running from Rad Power Bikes, the RadMini. I'm still running beta software that I picked up from them a year ago. So there are still some glitches that I need to bring it down and have them update the firmware, or see if I can do it remotely. Because if I start pedaling or do something else, every once in a while the throttle will completely just stop working until I turn off the button and then turn back on the button to get the throttle to kick back into being used. It's really weird. But it is still beta that I'm running, so hopefully they've sorted that out in the last year or so. Yeah, this should be fun for seeing the GPS data. I hope it works really well. And my phone is in my pocket, in my coat pocket, so hopefully those GPS signals are still acquired. Usually they seem to be. even in my pocket. Thanks. Yeah, so yeah, there's a nice little wooded area around Microsoft's back end. Sounds dirty. I wonder how the angle is on the camera. I didn't even check that before I left. Let's do that. And another nice thing about this gimbal is you can actually, you know, like a lot of other GoPro gimbals and gimbals in general, so you can grab it and angle it to where you want, hold it for a couple of seconds, and it'll keep that angle. This is really nice. It doesn't constantly try to fight you against everything. Yeah, and if you, and the GoPro gimbal, the Karma Grip, will, it doesn't have tilt, follow tilt, like just automatically. You have to hold down a button to enable follow tilt, and as long as you hold down the button, it'll follow tilt, which I'm fine with. And then you let go of the button, and that tilt, where you let it go, will stay. That's another way to adjust the tilt. And also get the follow tilt functionality. And then, if the tilt is not where you want it, if you've changed it, then you can press, like quick press that button that you would hold, and the quick press will reset the tilt back to its default state. Yeah, so my goal with with the angling of the gimbal is that the horizon will be directly in the middle of the screen. I'm shooting 4K 4x3 mode, so that when it's right in the middle, right in the center of the frame, the horizon looks straight. And shooting in 4x3, I can reposition in post where I want the frame to look. Oh, snowy. A little bunny rabbit. Hey there. A little slippery. So, yeah, and when I control the framing in post, the horizon will remain straight. So yeah, so that's my aim for that. My aim. And also gives me more leeway in case I go up a steep hill or down a steep hill. I can angle it in post. Like, I don't just outright miss it because I'm shooting in 16:9 mode. If I want the 60 frames per second, I gotta shoot in 16:9 mode. But for bike vlogs, don't really need slow motion. So 30 FPS is just fine. And I'm just about coming to the end of this trail. And I think up here is where I will leave you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for new content. I hope to start riding my bike a lot more, posting a lot more bike vlogs coming up soon. It is pretty cold, so I'm still getting used to like trying to figure out what's the best to wear for cold riding. What I have right now seems pretty good, but we'll see. I have some thicker gloves, but they cramp my hands, as you've seen in the last video. These gloves, I like. I mean, they're not as thick, so they don't cramp, and they have capacitive on the fingers, on the pointer finger and the thumb, rather. But they are starting to get a little cold. My fingers are. So they don't keep as warm. Well, I'm going to get up past 20 here. Nice. So, yeah, so there's that. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave you. Alright, bye-bye.